For this character of Kiki Camarena,
Yeah.
he's really, I think, he's an incredibly serious guy. He's kind of humorless. You're someone who's worked in both, comedy and drama. So
Yeah.
what was your way into this character?
Well, the thing is that like in all of my parts, I try to put in a lot of humor. I guess that's what I'm known for now. I don't consider myself like a terribly funny person, but when I keep studying the scripts, I can you rehearse in your head and you just play it out and play it out. You're like, oh, this might be funny, and funny. Like comedy and humor is two completely different things. Comedy is like when you're obviously like going for a joke, and humor is more observational, where like it's very real. Like if you're like how people are in real life, and there was no room for it in this one. I think it's too fast of a pace. When I did try it, it didn't feel natural. It felt forced, and that's because the show kind of just carries you and moves you in such a direction that there's no room for that. But then after I watched it, and the advice that I give people is go through watch the first 3, because it's Narcos Mexico season 1. So it's they have to establish the place. So it's the first 2 episodes establish it, and then 3 gets right into it. And so if you have a weekend or whatever it is, watch the first 3 in a day, and then you'll watch the other 7 on Sunday or something.
Yeah, I'm about to get through it all.
Yeah, exactly.
I have it back at home.
Yeah, my publicist, who's like I've been with her for like 15 years. She watched it. I think her and her husband watched it in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's probably ideal. Take some breaks, eat,
Yeah, it can be a little much, I think.
Yeah.
The headshots can be a little much.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of, getting into this character and researching, I know I spoke to Eric already, and he told me that he was able to speak to Kiki's widow and researching this
Yeah,
character.
as did I, yeah.
So tell me about that experience.
Well, see, what's funny is because everyone who I interviewed and everything that I read about the guy, it was always secondhand, because they never interviewed the man himself. So who better to sum it up than Kiki Camarena? And I mean, strong individual, to be honest with you. She was very supportive. The man went through some terrible, terrible times at the end of his life, being tortured and killed. And she was able to stay strong through that. And I asked her, because he almost seems like a superhero in a way, where you don't find that many people in today's life, like that are just, out to get the bad guy, and so that, the good people can live in peace. For instance, he joined the military, then he was a firefighter, and he was always a man of service, and he was just very dedicated, which is another reason that, I couldn't really apply as much humor as I wanted to. But I asked him what made the guy tick, and he's like, you know what, sometimes he was just simple. He just wanted to do that, just to, get the bad guy. And as an actor, you can tend to overthink things, but I think that's the driving force. And it reminds me almost a little bit of Apocalypse Now, how Martin Sheen's character was looking at, Marlon Brando's character, and he was just, he became obsessed, because he was telling people, like, this is what's going to happen. Kiki was telling people he saw the vision of this empire being built. He saw the signs and the consequences of it, and nobody would believe him. And that when nobody believes you and it's in plain sight, you kind of can get obsessed rather easily.
Yeah, we found out in the first season of Narcos proper, and we hear Kiki's story immediately, and they're warned about it. So you watch this as a fan of the show as a tragic story for this character.
Right.
You see the drive that he has to push forward and do things that no one else will do.
Yeah.
But it's not going to end well for him. So it's really, I think, heartbreaking to watch as well.
Exactly. But don't ruin it for people. They'll have to see it themselves.
They found out if they watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
True, for new fans as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And what do you think, perspective-wise, that you've learned most about this world? I mean, obviously, you've seen it on American news, and you've been able to hear a little bit of the cartel story. But what do you think is your perspective now that you've gone through the first season?
Yeah, you know what? Just like because I'm not a very political guy, I think that what's interesting is getting rid of stuff or making a change in life, especially like within politics, is not that easy, because all you see is like the top of the iceberg. You know what I mean? You don't see like everything that, like all the history that, like the domino effect of you changing one thing. And the cartels, in order for them to exist, had to have a lot of complacency, and there was a lot of moving parts, which is why it's a subject, you know, it's a great subject for drama, you know, on a TV show, because there's so many moving parts. So many things have to happen in order for this to be built, this empire to be built. And it's, I mean, it can be brutal sometimes, and you can really go into this dwindling spiral of knowledge.
Absolutely. Thank you
Yep.
so much for your time. It
Thank
was
you.
meeting you, man.
Right on.